Good morning, students. A warm welcome, one and all, to your English class. Well, today in our English class, we'll get along with the third poem, As I Grow Older. Well, students, As I Grow Older, written by Langston Hughes, an African-American poet. We'll see what he says or what the meaning of As I Grew Older is. He's Hughes. He's an African-American poet. You must have known during the early 19th centuries, there was a lot of discrimination of the blacks. The Africans who got settled down in America, they were treated very, very badly, even today. Though we have equal rights, you still find some areas where the blacks were discriminated. But it was at the peaks during 1920s. So, Hughes, he has written many writings just to elevate the equality among the people. He has written many writings. James Marshall Langston Hughes, born on February 1st, 1901 and expired on May 22nd, 1967, was an African-American poet. You can see here, students, he is an African-American poet. And he's a great poet. He is a social activist. He participates in social activities. You know what the social activities are? The Civil War, the war between the whites and the blacks. Okay? So he participated in the Civil War and he fought for the equal right for the blacks along with the whites. So he's a great social activist. He's a novelist. He has written many novels to uplift or fight for the rights of the blacks. Beautiful novels he has written. He's a great novelist. He's also a playwright. They performed many dramas. Okay? Jazz poetry, you must have heard, or jazz music, jazz dramas. These are emotional poems or dramas to, make the blacks understand their equal rights among the whites, or make this society understand equality between the blacks and the whites. So he's a great playwright. He has written many dramas and columnist. Means he has written columns for the newspapers. He has written many articles for the newspapers to enlighten the Civil War, to enlighten the discrimination of the blacks, or to enlighten the rights to be given for the blacks along with the whites. So you can see he's not a normal man. He's a great poet, social activist, novelist, playwright, and columnist. So if you get any annotations or questions and answers on this poem, remember, students, you have to give this description. The introduction of the poet, at least little you must give, at least from here till here. Then only you'll score marks. Who has written the poem and a little about him, what he is. So please remember, he's an African-American poet, social activist, novelist, playwright, and columnist. Now we'll see a little more about him. He moved to New York City as a young man where he made his career. Now, when he was very young, New York, the hub of the Europe. So he went to New York and he got settled there, and then he started participating actively in this social rights. So he moved to New York City as a young man where he made his career. You know what his career is? To participate in the Civil War. One of the earliest innovators of the then new literary art form called jazz poetry. I have just now been explaining you this part, students. Jazz poetry. Jazz must have heard this word. They'll fire up some songs, some music. You must have heard the jazz music, very famous jazz music is in the Western countries, where they fire your emotions. And jazz poetries, they describe the discriminations of the blacks, and they try to show how the whites, insult them, humiliate them. So these will fire your emotions. So you can see he is one of the earliest innovators of the then new literary art form called jazz poetry. Today jazz music and jazz poetry is common, but he was one of the innovator who has introduced jazz poetry. So the person, you can understand, or you can make this also a very important point, one of the earliest innovator. He innovated. He brought a new thought of jazz poetry, and emotional poems to enrich or to fire up the emotions of the blacks. Anyway, growing up in a series of Midwestern towns, Hughes became a prolific writer at an early age, because he was in the Midwestern countries, and he saw how he was a black. So when he saw his category people, the blacks, the black race people, being discriminated, he actively participated, and he has become a prolific writer. Means a person who will encourage, who will make you emotional. So a very important part he plays with his poetries, with his writings. He gained notice from the New York publishers. First, the Crisis magazine. In the Crisis magazine, he wrote many columns. I've told you he's a columnist. And then from book publishers, and became known in the creative community in Harlem. Renaissance Harlem period was a very, very great period in the history, especially in the Western countries, Western history. It's a very, very important history. The Harlem is actually the name of a river, and later it was a town's name, a neighboring town of New York. And it was occupied by the Americans and the Italians, the Harlem town or the Harlem city. But then in the 1920s or in the early 19s, a lot of Africans started coming and settling down there in Harlem. And these people were treated worse than animals. They were treated slaves. So the educated people, when they saw how they were discriminated in their own place among the whites in a town, they came and occupied. They actually came and occupied that land beside New York, because New York is a place where they were very, very ridiculously discriminated. So they occupied beside the river Harlem, a town called Harlem, and they started living there. But slowly, the Americans and the Italians who came and got settled there, they started discriminating. So these people have no land. They have no place for themselves. They were born in that place and they were brought up in that place for centuries, for generations, yet still they were considered as a slave. They never had right on it. So during the early 19th century, approximately from 1919 to 1936, there was a war, and we call it the Harlem Renaissance period. Here you can see he gained notice from New York publishers, first in the Crisis magazine and then from book publishers, and became known in the creative community in Harlem. He has become a known personality in the Harlem Revolution. See how great participant he was. And he's continuously fighting for the rights for the blacks. So he was also a great publisher in the Harlem community. In addition to poetry, Hughes wrote plays and short stories. He also published several non-fiction works. What is fiction? Imagination. What is the meaning of fiction? imagination. Facts, real. So, he also published several non-fiction works. Non-fiction means they are facts. They are not imaginary. They are facts. That means he never imagined anything and he wrote. Everything what is happening in front of his eyes, he put them in stories. All the lives what he can see, how they suffer, the lives around him, he put them in stories. So he is a great non-fiction for his works. He is great for his non-fiction works. And from 1942 to 1962, as the civil rights movement was gaining tractions, the civil war has been on the traction. He wrote an in-depth weekly column in a leading black newspaper, the Chicago Defender. Now, he participated in the Civil War in 42 to 62 when the civil rights movement is on the track. He wrote an in-depth weekly column. That means every week you can see huge, stories or huge articles coming. Where? In the Chicago Defender. This is exclusively for the blacks. The newspaper completely based on the blacks' rights. So he was an active participant in the Chicago Defender. So this is what we have about the poet. Now about the poem. As I grew older, Langston Hughes depicts a very negative image of the nation, the American dream. Okay? The American dream. In that, he tries to put a negative impact of the black's life. I repeat, students, in this poem, As I Grew Older, Langston Hughes depicts a very negative image of the nation. He gives a very, very negative or a bad image of America. How these people treat the blacks, how they discriminate the blacks. The poet metaphorizes his own experiences. You know what is the meaning of metaphor? What is the meaning of? This is a figure of speech. Simile, metaphor. Metaphor is indirectly comparing to, simile is directly comparing with one to another. He lives like a lion. Like, when you see like, and when he is compared to a lion, we call it a simile. He compares, or he is like a lion. That means he is compared to a lion. So this is simile. But what is metaphor? Metaphor is same meaning, but you don't use like or as. Your teachers must have taught you in your figures of speech. When we say he is like a lion, it is a simile. But when I say he fought, example, he is like a lion, simile. He was a lion is metaphor. How can he become a lion? He is like a lion. Okay, we are comparing his bravery, his courage to a lion. But when I say he was a lion in the battlefield, Tipu Sultan was a lion in the battlefield, so then I am making him a lion, which is not possible. So this is metaphor. Metaphor means you don't put like or as, but still you give the comparison of his character or his bravery to something else, to a lion. So this is metaphor. So now you can understand in the poem, As I Grew Older, Langston Hughes depicts a very negative image of the nation, American dream. And the poet metaphorizes his own experiences of racial discrimination. He metaphorizes his own experiences. He's seeing how the blacks were treated around him. And that experience, the racial discrimination. Racial discrimination means the race. Okay, the white race and the black race. He sees how the blacks were discriminated among the whites. So the poet metaphorizes his own experiences of racial discrimination, and thus also his experiences containing the reality of the American dream in 4 steps that can be outwardly seen as 4 stanzas. So the best example of the racial discrimination is the poem As I Grew Older. right? As I grew older, he has written in 4 stanzas, and he has put the racial discrimination of the American dream. Who doesn't have a dream? When you see a doctor, then immediately you will say, how nice if I too become a doctor. When you see a millionaire lavishly spending his life, you dream, I also want to be. So everybody's dream is to live abundantly and lavishly. But unfortunately, though you are very intelligent, though you are, fabulous in your knowledge or your experiences, yet because you are a black, because you are born with a black skin, or you are born in a black family, see students, birth is not in our hands. We don't choose from the heaven saying, I want that parent, I want this family, I want that caste. Nobody will have a choice to do it. You can't. You don't know to whom you will be born, or to whom, or to what kind of family you will be born. It's not your choice. And once when you take birth, your choice is to build you're the architect of your own life. You have to construct your life. So once when you take birth, you face all the difficulties around you, and you try to uplift yourself, and you try to dream to come up in your life. That's all what we can do. But though you are very intelligent, though you are very, very talented, just because you are born in a lower caste or a lower category or in a black race, you are removed all your liberties. You are removed all your enjoyments. That's ridiculous. What can we do? So beautifully he describes that though you are equivalent to the whites or even more intelligent than whites, yet you are removed of all your rights. They don't even treat you like a human being. They treat you worse than an animal just because you are a black. So here you can see the poet metaphorizes his own experiences. As I grew older in the poem, Hughes metaphorizes his own experiences of racial discrimination, and thus also his experiences containing the reality of American dream, whatever the American dreams are, in 4 steps that can be outwardly seen as 4 stanzas. So here we are with the poem. I just read the poems to you, students. I suppose you have your book with you. Please keep your textbooks, because I am repeatedly telling you, if you don't have a book, long ago, a couple of weeks back, I've announced that you have to purchase your books. And whenever there is a live class going, or whenever you're listening to your records, keep your textbooks in front of you. And if you have any doubts, you can underline it, you can make a mark, and you can WhatsApp me. Okay? You just put your photograph and your name, and whichever you're a BIPC student or a MPC student, you just try to put it, you give your details, and then you try to chat with me of your doubts. In that way, we can be able to help you out. So, when you are having a textbook, and when I'm explaining, and when you're looking into your textbook, it will be easier for you to understand than just merely glancing at me and my record. So, please try to have your books. Here I've typed the poem. I've completely gone with all the poem, so that have a look. I've made the font size big enough so that it will be visible clearly in your mobile. It was a long time ago. I have almost forgotten my dream. But it was there then, in front of me, bright like a sun, my dream. And then the wall rose slowly, slowly, between me and my dream. Rose until it touched the sky, the wall, the shadow. I am black. I lie down in the shadow, no longer the light of my dream before me, above me, only the thick wall, only the shadow. My hands, my dark hands, break through the wall, find my dream, help me to shatter this darkness, to smash this night, to break this shadow into 1,000 lights of sun, into 1,000 willing dreams of sun. So this is the poem, students. You want? I just try to repeat once again for a better understanding. It was a long time ago. I have almost forgotten my dream, but it was there then in front of me, bright like a sun, my dream. And then the wall rose slowly, slowly between me and my dream. Rose until it touched the sky, the wall, the shadow. So the first slide tells you what was his dream when he was a small fellow. And the second stanza shows you as he grows big, he understands that they were separated from the society because they were blacks. And then a wall rose slowly, slowly between me and my dream. Rose until it touched the sky, the wall, shadow. Third stanza, why? Why is there a wall between him and the society? Because he explains, I'm black. I lie down in the shadow, no longer the light of my dream before me, above me. Only the thick wall, only the shadow. The reason is because he is a black, he is discriminated from the society. The fourth stanza, my hands, my dark hands, break through the wall. Find my dream, help me to shatter this darkness, to smash this night, to break this shadow into 1,000 lights of sun, into 1,000 reeling dreams of sun. So these two slides are the last stanza. So though he is a black and though people try to put him off, his black hands try to break that wall, the wall which is called discrimination. And then he tries to move towards the 1,000 reeling suns. So that's all is the poem, students. Only a 4 stanzas, a very small poem. And now we will go in depth with the first stanza. It was a long time ago, I have almost forgotten my dream. Now Hughes has grown big. And then he looks back. He looks back into his life. Nostalgic. I've told you what is the meaning of it. When you miss a period of time, when you're homesick, we call it nostalgic. Okay? So here, Hughes, he looks back into his life, and as a small fellow, he thinks that he is equivalent to the Americans. He is an American. Of course, he is an American. And along with the whites, he too has equal rights with the whites. He used to think in that way. But when he grew big and then he recollected, he looked back into his life. It was a long time ago. Once upon a time, long ago, long time ago. These are all the nostalgic phrases. It was a long time ago. I have almost forgotten my dream. When you are a small kid, whatever you look around at you, you think it's very easy. I will become. People ask you when you're in first standard, what are you going to be? You say, I'll become a soldier. I'll become a police officer. I'll become a doctor. Just write your civils to become a collector. Write MBBS, your medical tests to become a doctor. And write IPS or IPS tests to become a police officer. Then you'll understand how difficult it is. So when you are small, when you look into things, you feel it's very easy and I will be able to do all these things. So this is what he says. It was long time ago, I have almost forgotten my dream. What was his dream? What was his dream? His dream was to be equal to whites. He always dreamed to be equal to the whites. But it was there then in front of me, bright like a sun, my dream. But it was there then. Can you see? It was there then. That means now it is no more there. His dream is no more there. At that time, the dream was there. It was there then in front of me, bright like a sun. That time it was there. But now it was not there. So you can see, students. Okay. So you can see, excuse me. Okay. It was there then. You can see, long time ago. shows you the nostalgic and the word there, then. Can you see? Th, which is alliteration. So students, you can see, but it was there then in front of me, bright like a sun, my dream. My dream was like a sun. And now it's dark. I don't have any more that bright dream. It's gone dark. Okay, fine. Sorry. So, now we'll see the summary. The speaker starts by describing a dream he used to have a long time ago that he has since nearly forgotten. Upon a time, he used to dream that his life will be beautiful, he will become this, he will become that, like all of us, how we dream, like that. I will have a very good life in the future, he thought. But even though he's very talented, just because he's a black, he's trodden, he's stamped down, and he was not able to fulfill his dreams. Back then, however, it was right in front of him, bright like a sun dream. So, when he was small, he used to dream that his life is going to be bright like sun. But today he experienced his life has completely become dark. It's no more bright. So we'll see the analysis of the poem. As I Grew Older contains a narrative about struggle and empowerment that shares the thematic similarities with dreams and Harlem. So, as I grow older, this poem contains the struggle and the empowerment. Struggle. They are struggling to empower themselves, to be powerful or equally powered with the whites. They were struggling. That shares the thematic. You know what is the meaning of a theme? Okay? Thematic. I've given you the meanings. Thematic means relating to a particular theme. What is their theme? Their theme is to always be equal with the whites. So that's their theme. Thematic similarities with dreams and Harlem. Dreams, everybody will have dream, but you can see how worst and harsh the blacks were treated in Harlem. They don't suit. They say, okay, you go on the outskirts of New York, you stay on the outskirts of New York. So all the blacks started staying in Harlem, on the bank of Harlem River. But still, there also they have been discriminated. They also, on that land also, they have no right. So this is showing the similarities with dreams and Harlem. So you can see how Hughes tried to conduct huge meetings, and he used to empower all the blacks against the whites. In the beginning of the poem, the speaker recalls a dream he had long ago and had nearly forgotten. Now, in the starting, you will think, I will do this, I will do that. But when you get 2-3 blows, you'll become silent. You'll think, my God, it is impossible for me to do. I can't do. So, you start accepting your life. Same thing happened to Hughes over here. When he was a child, he had many dreams to be equal with whites. But now, that dream which he dreamt to be like bright like sun, he has forgotten. But now he can see it ahead of him once more. But then he thought, why should I accept my failure? This is not my fault. Being born as a black is not my fault. If at all a white is born a black, and if is also treated the same, why don't you have a heart to feel the feelings of a black? So again he started struggling and to get empowerment for the blacks. So that is the main theme of the poem. This is fairly straightforward symbolism. The speaker represents all African Americans who had to relinquish their dreams due to the pervasive discrimination and persecutions in early 20th century in American society. So, you can see relinquish, that means to give up. So, here he is saying, why should all the African Americans, they are also Americans, but because they are black, they are called African Americans and they are categorized separately. All the African Americans who had relinquished their dreams. What is relinquish, to give up. Why should they give up? Why should they leave? Just because they're black, they are discriminated. They are not supposed to enjoy some of the rights. Due to the pervasive discrimination, so affecting everything, pervasive. So they whatever they do, it affects. They are not supposed to do. They are not supposed to have a good building for themselves. They are not supposed to have a richer post, a high position in the society because they are blacks. So why should we be that? This is what his fight was, the civil fight was. And persecutions in early 20th century in American society. So the persecutions means they were harassed, specifically in a particular group. The blacks were harassed. The blacks were ill-treated. They treated them like slaves, and worse than the pet dogs. You know, the pet dogs and cats were given much more liberty than the slaves, than the blacks. That's ridiculous. They felt very pained, very bad. So he has argued, or he has put forth his tongue in the poem as I grew up in about the American society. So students, we'll have, and then the wall rose slowly between me and my dream, rose until it touched the sky, the wall, shadow. So now the second stanza we'll have in the next class. We'll see how as he was growing, he's become a young man. He understood the discrimination from Harlem. He's come to New York, and there he started his civil war. He started fighting, and he started showing how that wall, metaphor, you know, a materialistic wall. Actually, there is no wall, but materialistically, how a wall is dividing two people, like that he experiences a materialistic wall between him and the white. How it has completely pulled away all his liberty, all his rights. He tries to show, and we'll have that description in the next class. Till then, have a nice day, students. Thank you.